Hello, hello, Weston. How are you?
I'm good.
It's really nice to see you again. How
Uh,
have things been since the last we've seen?
uh, Still the similar day, and I have some lessons to about. I have some summer lessons, and
Hmm.
it ends 2 days ago.
Hmm. So you have
And
like kind of a summer school, yeah?
yeah, and there will be some volleyball training irregularly.
So you're gonna have some training.
Yeah, and next week I
Uh-huh.
need to train for 5 hours
5 hours in a row,
in a day.
or in a day. Okay.
There are two parts
Hmm.
that will give a time for us to eat lunch.
Oh, so you'll have some lunch breaks in between. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, that's a that's a big schedule you have there. Lots of things that you need to do. Um,
including my summer homework.
and that's plus on top of it you have your homework, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's a lot of work. Weston, have you checked the materials that were sort of prepared for this club, the videos and things, or do you want me to play them for you? Well, let me show you. I guess it's better I show you first before asking you all these questions. So the title, if you will, of this speaking club is "The Ending of Avengers Endgame Explained." Now let me just find that. Here we go. Now, did you watch Avengers Endgame?
Yes, I've watched it when I went to Singapore in one school traveling. That's when I was on the plane in the plane and there are 4 hours and it's totally similar time to for me to watch the end game.
Yeah, it's about 3.5 hours, right?
Yeah, it's a long movie.
It's a very long movie. Now here we have, because usually I ask people, because if they didn't watch the movie, then I would totally spoil it for them, right? And we don't want those spoilers.
Don't worry, I didn't really care about spoiling.
Okay, okay. What do I want to do? I want to put in spoilers here. We can start our vocabulary list as well. Okay, so I am going to play the video for you. Is that okay?
Okay,
To play the video, to see what the video is about, and then after that, you and I can talk about it and things like that. Before I play the video, I have to admit I'm not really that big fan of Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've seen some movies. I know what's happening in Avengers Endgame, but I just, it felt too long for me to watch. It just felt too long. I mean, maybe on a plane, because I remember you mentioning it, watching it on a plane. That would make sense to watch because there's nothing else left to do. But I'm going to play the video, and then we will see. And then after that, we can talk about it. Okay.
okay.
Here's the video.
With a runtime clocking in at over 3 hours, it might be easier to explain what doesn't happen in Avengers Endgame instead of what does. For instance, fans don't get bored, fans don't get up to use the bathroom, and fans don't ever want it to end, but it did end. And we're here to explain what that ending.
My apologies. How's the sound? Is it good?
Yeah, I can hear it clearly.
You can hear it? Excellent. Okay. Let me just sort this out. Usually this thing would turn on itself straight away, but Okay, let's see how it looks now when I play it.
Thing was about. Here's
This is weird.
the ending of
Yes.
Avengers Endgame explained, with lots of spoilers
Why is it
ahead.
pausing?
After returning from their various missions to different past moments from the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Avengers grouped back up with the 6 Infinity Stones in tow. But Black Widow was missing, as she sacrificed herself to retrieve the Soul Stone. It all goes down in a scene that mirrored the death of Gamora in Avengers Infinity War. The new and improved Professor Hulk, who has the combined might of the Hulk with the intellect of Bruce Banner, used a recreated Infinity Gauntlet to reverse Thanos' snap, bringing back all the people who were erased from existence in Avengers Infinity War. But though he tried, he couldn't return Natasha to life. It may seem weird that a guy with an all-powerful wishing glove still couldn't undo this one major death, but Black Widow's absence at the end of the film proves that the Infinity Stones aren't quite as infinite as their name would suggest. Of course, that doesn't mean our heroes can't find a way to pluck her out of the past and send her
Back to the future!
Okay, so here's where things get weird. On their trip back to 2014 to get the Power Stone, seen in the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, our timeline's Nebula was captured by Thanos, who secretly replaced her with the evil 2014 version of Nebula. Having infiltrated the Avengers headquarters, evil Nebula then summoned 2014 Thanos and his armies using the time machine. They blew everything up, with evil Nebula getting a hold of the new Infinity Gauntlet in a callback to the original comics. But then the good Nebula from the real timeline shot her younger evil self stone dead. Luckily, this didn't affect the good Nebula at all. So what does that mean? It proves our heroes' pasts can't be changed, and that alternate universes are probably something the MCU is going to need to sort out in Phase 4. With the Infinity Gauntlet once again in play, the Avengers fought Thanos to a standstill, including an absolutely epic sequence where Captain America gained the powers of Thor by wielding the mystic hammer Mjolnir to deliver a massive whooping. Something which was first teased way back in Avengers Age of Ultron. Still, Thanos eventually called in the cavalry, by which we mean the intergalactic horde of creeps we saw back in Avengers Infinity War. Luckily, the Hulk's reverse snap had also restored all the dusted heroes from Avengers Infinity War, just as Captain America was about to face the armies of Thanos alone, again echoing a classic moment from the comics. All the dead heroes arrived via Doctor Strange's magic portals in a scene reminiscent of the end of Ready Player One, only better. Plus, the arrival of all the heroes allowed Captain America to finally deliver the team's signature catchphrase from the comics, Avengers Assemble, something fans have been waiting for the last decade, especially after Marvel did a freak-out tease at the end of Age of Ultron.
Avengers!
In the end, you knew it had to come down to Tony Stark versus Thanos for the fate of the universe. After all, the showdown had been teased way back in Avengers Age of Ultron, and luckily Tony was clued in to his big chance because Doctor Strange was there to give him the finger. No, not that finger. Just an index finger to note that this was the one chance in 14 million for victory that he had foreseen in Avengers Infinity War. Stark didn't disappoint, taking the Infinity Stones from Thanos and using it to snap the big purple meanie out of existence along with all his minions. We learned in Guardians of the Galaxy that mere mortals cannot harness the power of the Infinity Stones though. Fulfilling that cosmic promise, the strain was too much for Tony. He died a hero and was given a hero's funeral attended by everyone who was anyone, including Nick Fury and even that kid from Iron Man 3. As for why it had to be Tony who saved the day and bit the dust, well, he's the guy who started the whole MCU back with the first Iron Man movie. He's been the heart and soul of the franchise, and without Tony making the ultimate sacrifice to save the universe, it just wouldn't feel right. He may be gone, but he'll never be forgotten.
I am Iron Man.
Following Tony's funeral, Captain America was tasked with returning the Infinity Stones to their proper places and time, in order to ensure that no more alternate universes were created. But in a big twist, Cap decided not to come back from his time travel jaunt. Instead, he returned to the 1940s so he could finally have that dance he promised Peggy Carter back in Captain America, the first Avenger. And then he stayed there, apparently marrying her and living a long and full life.
You're gonna need a rain check on that dance.
A week next Saturday at the Stork Club.
So Steve Rogers at least got a happy ending, and so did his buddy Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon. Not only was he brought back to life, but an old Steve Rogers, still spry at well over 100, turned up to present Sam with this indestructible shield and the charge to carry on as the new Captain America, a development that also took place in the comics several years ago. Tony and Steve might be gone, but one of the big three may apparently still be moving forward in the MCU. After wallowing in self-pity throughout the whole film, Thor finally seemed to get his act together at the very end and decided to head into space with the Guardians of the Galaxy, leaving Valkyrie behind as the new leader of the Asgardians. We also got a hint of what we might see when Thor and the Asgardians of the Galaxy return in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, as their final scene showed Peter Quill searching for the location of the 2014 version of Gamora, who came through the portal with Thanos but vanished after the final battle. But that's just one of several loose ends Marvel will have to tie up in future movies. We won't have to wait long to see the fallout from Avengers Endgame, as the teasers for Spider-Man Far From Home suggest Peter Parker and Happy Hogan will be dealing in very different ways with the loss of Tony Stark. They aren't the only ones with things to work through though. After stealing the Tesseract again, Loki got a second chance at life that seems likely to be explored in the upcoming Loki series on Disney's new streaming service, Disney+. Likewise, Hawkeye has his family back, which is likely to be explored in the upcoming Hawkeye series on the same service. Meanwhile, Wakanda suddenly has its king back again. That's probably one king too many though, because whoever's been running the show for the last 5 years in T'Challa's absence, M'Baku maybe, might not want to just hand the throne back over. And then there's Black Widow, who has a solo film in development, even though she's dead. Will the heroes rebuild a time machine to bring her back? Will the film be a prequel? Will we find out she was a life model decoy this whole time? So many possibilities. All told, the Avengers saved a lot of lives and won the day. But that was the easy part. Picking up the pieces is likely to be the hard part, and we can't wait for Phase 4 to begin so we can see just how they do it. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite Marvel movies are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.
Wow, that's a lot of information. What do you think?
The movie is long, so the video will also be long.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes. Did they manage to squeeze all of that in into 6.5 minutes? That was amazing. Let's say hello to Chloe as soon as her audio setup is done, and then we can have more talk about movies. Hello, Chloe. How are you doing today? How are things?
I think everything well. Thank you.
Everything's well.
Mhm.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Weston and I just watched a video on the ending of Avengers Endgame explained. That's the thing that we watched for the past 6.5 minutes. And I was just saying how there's a lot of information in those 6.5 minutes. Did you watch, by any chance, Avengers Endgame? Chloe? No, you didn't watch it? All right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, now, guys, what are your thoughts on this whole sort of Avengers universe and things like that, right? I mean, I don't really understand much about it, but if you do, I would love to hear one of you guys tell me about the Avenge universe. This is all characters from the universe, right? Do we know the word characters? Let me put this in chat for you guys. Characters. So obviously we have what? We have Iron Man, then there's Wolverine, then there's Thanos, who seems to be a big villain. What is this? The New Avengers. New Avengers setup, I guess. Does anyone know a thing or two about Avengers? Weston, how about you? Do you know anything about this? About the Avengers?
I know
the characters.
The character and I know the story.
Okay, so tell us a bit about the story. What is the story of Avengers? How do we get them together? What's happening there?
Is connected to the Avenger 3. If you say that Avenger 1 and Avenger 2 is the two story, and the 3 and 4 is connected together, is talking about that when the Avengers failed to save the universe, and then Iron Man or I forget who suggests that plan that to go back to use some devices to return to the past and do some things to avoid Loki take all the jewel to on his glove to destroy half of the universe. And
That
at
would be
last,
Thanos. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and at the last they still have a fight, but because they have prepared so, but finally Iron Man still died by using too much power to turn on the glove.
Mhm, mhm.
And the story
Okay.
after some ending story and then it ends.
So yeah, so the universe is saved and the timelines are saved, but Iron Man had to die because of that. Right?
Yes, right.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Um, Chloe, how about you and this whole Marvel universe? Did you watch any of these Avengers movies? Do you know anything about it?
Marvel movie.
Yeah, Marvel movies.
I watched Spider-Man
Okay.
when I was little, so
Uh-huh.
I forgot about the detail of the
Mhm,
movie.
mhm.
Um, but I think that movie is was so cool because Spider-Man can go anywhere by his how to say it his
Thread.
spider
Spider thread. Yes, that's how we would say it.
thread,
Thread.
and
Yeah, I'll put it
that
in.
is
I'll
very
put it in.
creative
Mhm,
movie.
mhm. Spiders, they weave threads. So it would be a spider thread. Just like spider net. When spiders make their nets, they make threads. And these threads are then weaving a thread, are then weaved into a net. So you watch Spider-Man. Do you know the story of Spider-Man, Chloe? Who was it and what happened that turned this person into a Spider-Man?
He was bitten by spider, and then he become a Spider-Man.
That's right.
Is that
And what's
right?
his? That is correct. And do you remember his name?
I don't know.
Weston, do you remember Spider-Man's name?
No,
Spider-Man name.
because
Okay.
I didn't really watch all the Avengers. Like I just watched some Iron Man.
Mhm, mhm.
I the most I know the Iron Man more because I watched the movie.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, I owe you guys Spider-Man's real name. Spider-Man's real name is Peter Parker. He's the teenager who got bitten by a radioactive spider. That's how he became a radioactive spider. And that's how Peter Parker got his spider powers. Well, I mean, the whole Marvel thing and is maybe not as interesting to talk about. But what can we talk about? For example, do you guys like movies? You know, we can go from there. Weston obviously has watched some of these Avengers movies, and Chloe, you watched some Spider-Man back in the day when you were younger. What about other movies? Do you guys have any favorite movies you want to talk about? Weston?
Some movie.
Yeah, something you would like to sort of discuss in detail. To discuss in detail. Do you guys know that phrase? I keep closing my shared button, but I should be. And then to discuss in detail means to discuss in great length, right? To discuss in detail. To talk about it, not just generally, but like to give details and things like that. So any movies or maybe something else you guys would like to talk about? What would you like to talk about? It doesn't necessarily have to be movies. You want to talk about something else? Any ideas?
I like to watch movie, but I didn't watch movie for often, and because now the movie theater closed, so I didn't remember some classic movie.
Yes. Yeah, the theaters are closed because of the situation. That is true. They were opened here in the United States for a while, but now they're closing it again because of the Delta variant happening, spreading around the United States lately. So we'll see what happens. Chloe, how about you? What is your relationship with movies in general?
I seldom watch movie, and I when I watch it movie, that is because my teacher, my teachers they played the video, the movie in the class for us, and then I had a chance to watch movie.
So you'd watch movies only if they're part of your school class, yeah? Okay.
Most of
The most often. Okay, all right. So obviously, you know, we don't have to talk about movies if you guys don't have a lot of things to say. Let's talk about something else. What are you doing for fun? Weston, I mean, I know you have a really big schedule with your summer school and that big 5-hour training and everything, but what do you do to have fun? What do you do to relax?
Watch TV, play games. Maybe sometimes we go out with my mom for reading, for some, for like shopping or bookshop, something like that.
So you like to watch TV, you like to play games, and sometimes occasionally go shopping with your mom to bookstores and things like that. All right, great. Chloe, what do you do to relax?
Sometimes I go hiking with my parents.
Hiking. That's interesting. Yeah.
But the simple mountain, not the difficult.
The ones that are easier to climb, right? Not the hard ones to climb, but the easier to climb. Yeah, of course. And do you have your favorite sort of a favorite spot where you like to by the way, is this translation working out for you guys?
Yes.
I mean, does it work? Easier to climb, discuss in detail. Your translation out here comes out as a good thing, something you would understand.
Yes.
Because it's very hard for me to know, right? I have no idea what is happening on this other side, and I can only guess that the translation will pick it up. Okay, excellent. So, I was asking, what do you have a favorite mountain spot or a place where you like to go? And yeah, oh yeah, let me put that in chat as well. In
I know, but let me think. I am living in Yangming Mountain in Taipei, and that is a volcano. And
oh, it's a volcanic mountain.
but it will be
wow.
work in the future, maybe. And here we have hot spring here. And we also have thermal valley near my home.
Oh, I see. So is your place like a big tourist place? Tourist spot?
Yes.
It is. All right.
Yes. And I think here I live in Beitou, and is famous for hot spring. And I worked in hot spring hotel before.
Okay. All right. Okay. Weston, have you been to this hot spring Chloe's talking about? Do you know where it is?
Hot spring.
Hot spring.
In Hong Kong, there are no hot springs, so in Taiwan, I didn't familiar with that.
You're not familiar with this area? Are you from Taipei as well? You're not from Taiwan?
I'm from Hong Kong, so I don't know the thing in Taiwan.
So you're from, okay. I thought you were from Taiwan too, but you're living in Hong Kong now. Do you have a favorite nature place to go to, Weston? What Chloe just mentioned sounds like a very interesting thing, and she is surrounded by nature with this whole hot spring happening, and she having some jobs at hotels. What about you in nature, Weston? Do you have a favorite nature spot?
Favorite nature spot. If it's Hong Kong, then there. In Hong Kong, nature spot. Natural park.
I guess parks would be, the closest thing to you in Hong Kong. But do you ever go out with your family somewhere in the nature? I mean,
yes.
You guys just stay in the city the whole time, or do you go out somewhere?
Go out, but in Hong Kong there are no hot spring, and we don't go hiking. So yeah, natural park.
So you go out to the nature. And how, I mean, obviously Hong Kong is a huge place, but how often do you go out of the city with your family to spend some time in the nature? Like, would you guys do it once a year or twice a year? What do you think, Weston?
For the go outside to go nature, then there will be like 1 or 2 months once, and travel I think once a year or less than that.
So maybe once every other year or once a year. If we want to say less than that, and we would say once every other year. If something is really once every other year, and if something happens really rarely, we would say once in a blue moon. That means it might happen once and that's it. Maybe it cannot happen anymore. Like it's so rare. It's very rare to have that sort of a thing once in a blue moon. So this is interesting, right? We have Weston, who lives in a very large city, and then we have Chloe, who lives in a tourist spot surrounded by nature and hot springs. I like that. It's a nice little supposition of two very different places to live in. Chloe, how about you? Would you like to live in a big city like Hong Kong, for example? Or you're really happy with where you live right now? You're muted, Chloe. I'm sorry, you have to unmute. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, sorry.
There it is.
I also live in city. I live in Taipei. Is the capital city in Taiwan. But where I live is like a little county in the little district far from the middle the middle city. And we also have MRT station near my home for drive for 5 minutes drive. So I think that is good because it's more quiet and the footstep is more slowly than the middle city.
We would say there's less noise, less traffic, less noise coming from the streets. Yeah, very good, very interesting. I mean, yeah, you did mention you're in a big city, but the place you described sounds like a small little patch of nature in the middle of something very, very big. Very big construction wise, like a very big building, right? So we would say like a small patch of nature among, oh wow, my computer is slow. I need to fix this somehow. All right, so very interesting stuff. I live in a village that is just basically, well, actually, I should keep this on. Yeah, that is basically a residence area, and but it has sort of, it has all elements of a village. You know, we have a little market, we have a little store. There's something we call a social club, where you can go maybe and you know, maybe you can start a little hobby class on your own, or you can get some information about social events and things like that, right? So it is very, very quiet because there are no businesses where I live. It's just houses, residential houses where people would live, right? And I have to say, I'm very happy to live in such an environment, because all you hear pretty much is just dogs. If there's any noise coming out of these streets where I live, it's just dogs. And now that Chloe mentioned that, you know, it's less traffic noise and there's less people sound coming from the window. Weston, what about you? Like, what's your sort of situation in terms of where you live, is it quiet or is it noisy or what's the situation there for you?
Kind of like quiet if I don't go out. For me, I go out is inside that less car comes in, and
Mm,
the super and market I need to walk for 3 to 5 minutes. So if I'm in the home, then I'll not hear many noise.
mm. Okay, so you also live in a sort
So
of
I
a
think
quiet
it's
part.
so I think it's a quiet environment.
Mhm. Excellent. And how close is the nearest park to you?
Can you say
close?
it again?
How close is the nearest park to you? Like how long do you have to walk to get to the nearest park?
Eh, if you just talk about park, then
Yeah.
just need to walk for 10 minutes.
Oh, there you go. So the closest park to you is just 10 minutes. And what do we have inside that park? Do you guys have, for example, in the United States, a lot of parks will have these things like they'll have the gym equipment, right? So you can work out in nature. We call that workout in nature. Then you would have these benches and little dog training tracks. Like a lot of people who have pets, right, would want to train their dog, but you need a little bit of equipment to do that, and you need space to train your dog. Let's say you live in an apartment, you can't move around that much, so you have to they go out and people would go to park and try to train their dog there. And then for example, in the place where I live, there are three parks, and each park has these training tracks where you would have like little hurdles for jumping over, right? And things like that, all made for dogs, right? So they're not really high, like athletic hurdles. They'd be like maybe 40 centimeters, 30, 40 centimeters high. So what kind of things do you have in your park, Weston, where you live?
The thing in the park.
Yeah. Is it just benches and little trails that would go through a park, or do you guys have some other stuff?
Benches, some plants, and some like and the road to walk for
Mhm.
health and sports, and also for children, for something for children to play.
That's how we would call it. We call that playground. So there would be a playground in the park for kids. Right. Playground in the park for kids. Okay, excellent, great. Okay. So now we know what's happening in Weston's nearby park. Chloe, what can I ask you? How about well, let's talk about English. That is, so far, that's the thing that we all share in common. So Chloe, why do you study English, and why do you want to use it?
Because I want to be a flight attendant in the future.
I see, you would like to work as a flight attendant in the future.
Yes,
in that
and
case, yes.
I want to improve my speaking English speaking skill to speak fluently. Yes.
Well, your English speaking skill is very good, as it is now, so it's pretty nice. So you want to be a flight attendant?
Yes.
do you know of anyone who is a flight attendant?
Stephanie was flight
Stephanie was a flight
attendant.
attendant.
Was
Oh,
before.
okay. I didn't know that. All right. I guess I know somebody now who used to be a flight. We would say used to be.
Aisha,
Yeah.
do you know Aisha?
Yes, she showed up on a few of my.
Aisha was.
She was a flight attendant
before in
Mm,
Cathay Airline.
okay. All right. I'm pretty sure you will have no problems becoming a flight attendant in the future. Weston, why do you speak English, and what do you want to use it for?
The stuff from kindergarten that well, the school teach me English, then I just didn't really think why, just for studying, and I know that it's for the test, and my mom said only the test score to be good, then you can choose more more job. But actually I think learning language is hard, but I think study language can help me to talk with more people.
Yes, English is very
It's
widespread,
popular language.
very popular language, and also much easier language to use and learn than your guy's native language. I mean, Chinese, one of the most difficult languages in the world because of the system. So Weston, you kind of just you just speak English because that's what you have been doing since kindergarten, studying it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Sometimes we will do things and not really realize that we are growing up with them, right? To grow up with things. I was when I was a kid a long time ago, right? To grow up with things. How we would say it. When I was a kid, I was a big fan of comic books. I really liked reading comic books, and before I realized what happened, I was like 22, and still talking about comic books, being very interested in them, collecting them. Right, I was a comic book collector. Only to realize that I've been doing that since I was 5. And then I realized that I grew up loving and collecting comic books. And then I stopped, as I grew up. So that's why we are doing English. Chloe would like to be a flight attendant, and Weston knows the benefits of speaking a foreign language. So how often do you guys speak English? That's also, I think, something we need to discuss. Maybe I should totally differently use my English language when I talk to you guys. Maybe you don't quite understand what I'm trying to say the whole time. But let's find out. So Chloe, how often do you speak English, say, per week? Like, do you come to these clubs every day, or how do you do it?
Normally, I come to enjoy ABC at least 1 hour a day. 1 hour a day. So at least 5 hours a week.
5 hours a week. 5 hours a week of Enjoy ABC. And do you practice English outside of these clubs?
In the past, when I worked in hotel, I had chances to talking with foreign customers.
Mhm.
But now I am working in kindergarten, and I have no chance to speak English now.
Ah, I see. Well, yeah, unless you start teaching kids some English, just like Weston experienced when he was in kindergarten. Okay, so you use these clubs at least for an hour a day. So that makes it
Yes.
about 5 hours a week. And Weston, how about you? How often do you use English? Do you show up to these Joy ABC clubs every day? How do you do it?
About NJVC.
Yes. Like, how often do you practice speaking English at a week?
Mm. When I go to this lesson, it's also like practice, and when I go to school, and sometimes when mm, without that, then I like to use Cantonese.
Okay, so you would use Cantonese. So when you guys show up to these clubs, right? Uh, we we have a topic for you, right? In this case, it was movies. But what exactly, like, how much, how much are you interested in a topic? Like, for example, would you choose, right? If I show you guys, I have a timetable that I think you also have. Where's my here? Here it is. All right. So there's this timetable, right? We have these classes and things like that, right? So how do you choose? How do you choose which club to, which talk, which of these clubs you to join? Like, what's your system? Do you have a system?
After 7 o'clock, basically after 7 o'clock, because my dinner finished at 7:30, and
Mm-hmm.
then maybe I will choose some topic that with seems like interesting topic, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like tradition, culture, nature, and animals, something like that.
Okay. All right. Mm. So basically, you would spend an hour in these clubs after dinner. Makes sense. That's totally understandable. And Chloe, how about you?
I usually join the class after 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the second time
Okay.
because when I back home it's around 7 o'clock and
Mm.
I tidy my bag and then have dinner. So when I get ready, it's around 8 o'clock.
It's around 8 o'clock. So you guys would have dinner at the same time between 7 and 7:30, maybe, and then you need to rest, of course, a little bit after dinner, and then you would have your speaking practice. Okay, okay. I'm still trying to sort of learn, because you guys have been to all of my clubs, right? You showed up at the club I had the week before last. You showed up to this club, and obviously you're interested in having a conversation, but I'm still trying to understand sort of what is it that you guys like to talk about, because the best way to practice speaking a foreign language, not the best way but the easiest way, not the best, easiest, is to talk about things that you love to talk about. That way words just come out of your mouth. You don't even know how many words you know when you start talking about things you love. And that's what I'm trying to sort of understand. What is it, the things that you guys love to talk about, so that, maybe next time in the next club, we can have some discussion questions ready for you guys and things like that. But anyways, I'm gonna I'm gonna close this club because it's 9 p.m. right in your part of the world already, and I want you guys to maybe have another club with somebody else. Excellent talk, guys. It was really nice to see both of you again. Very good work from both of you. Good stuff. All right, you guys enjoy your evenings. I will share the vocabulary list and the materials in our WhatsApp group, of course. And yeah, you guys have fun, and I hope I'll see you again. Okay.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Have
Bye.
a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.